many of us that have been doing this for a while, we build a place in our mind consciousness, a place we go to do this kind of inner work, a place to look out from at the issue or the craziness or whatever. And that place is the same thing as I always start with, who is the me that can see the thoughts, see the emotions, see the body, what it's up to. And that awareness place is what expands over time until it becomes just a go-to in our mind. I just think that's a lovely thing. So just pointing it out as we get started today. We're building a better home. Let's just take a moment and see if we can find that place and sit in it for a moment. This awakening is, of course, a lifetime adventure. In fact, it can become the way we do the adventure. It's more than a perception, though. I've pretty much seen that around the globe and over time that all the teachers have the same basics. We are beginning at least to see something beyond our mind story, which is our perception based on our past. In fact, in this place of awareness, we may be able to begin to glimpse our mind story of this is how it is, or this is what I believe, or such, and replace it with just a is that so? It's like that constantly opening up all the hardness of our mind and reactions to becoming willing to examine everything. Even my best belief that has helped me for so long, it's periodically good to just say, okay, let me have another new look at that and see how that looks in relationship to my growth and my new depth of peace, love, and joy. And so that's just ongoing forever. But remembering to bring everything to this place. We make so many exceptions. Well, I got to worry about money right now. I got to, worry about my health or that person or this situation. And it's like that's where we most need to bring our awareness to the place and operate with it, interact with it from there. So mindfulness, again, it's the tool of developing new habits, of getting to that place in our consciousness that has more awareness and is freer of our old reactions. Well, it's a very strange place too. Many of our reactions are good reactions. And that gets called attachment in Buddhism. And it of course talks about letting go of attachment. And I find that gets used misleading a lot of times. Getting rid of the attachment does not mean we stop loving or enjoying. The attachment is, I have to have that this way to be happy. That's what attachment is, when I've assigned my source of life and joy outside of myself. So I can enjoy my chicken all I want. I can also be just as happy without my chicken. So again, it's this constant looking, just refining every little reaction and program that the embodied mind does. It'll get quite angry at us at times, saying, well, this is good enough. Now I'm just going to be me. Enough of this foolish working on myself or waking up or trying to be aware. Yeah, okay. We then just get to enjoy the consequences of that again. And in some time, pretty much always come back to, all right, I think I'm ready to be a little bit saner again now. But all of that has to be included. In my belief, I do believe that a higher level of consciousness, what we often call spirit, is guiding us, maybe sometimes provoking us. It will take us into whatever we need to examine in our mind to gain the next step of freedom. But it's not going to show me freedom. It's going to show me what's locking me down. And that's the really pissy part about this awakening, because I get one chunk solved and I think, oh man, that's sweet. Yeah, this is free now. And then a moment later it says, oh, take a look at this. You got that too. So all of this is little reminders of the process. Back to what I just wanted to do a quick thought on. Are we aware of how strong our believer is and how much we actually need one? It's what gives us a framework, our perception of the world for instantaneous reaction to it. And if we can find that deep belief and look at it, some days you're going to realize it's just a belief. Okay. Well, I'd rather believe and keep that on file, that the Great Awakening is happening, rather than I'm doomed to the inevitability of rampant stupidity on this planet. Both are possible perceptions that will come into my mind, and I choose. And again, trying to wrap this around, it's always about our choice. Every second, every exchange, every observation, we make a choice of what to do with it. If we have a nice, peaceful belief system, most of the time, as we progress, we don't need to do anything with it. It's like, oh yes, I see that, I see you, I see what I'm reacting. Okay, all is well, and we stay calm. If I slip out of my place, then I'm in the reaction that naturally came up. Okay, thanks for showing me. Yeah, let me get to work. So choice, and we could say belief, is the sum of our old programs and perceptions, but yet we can build a belief system we choose that's kinder to us, kinder to our awakening, and kinder to the world around us as well. But trying to find the right belief, as many millions of people have noticed, is friggin' impossible. I don't know how many religions, by definition, on the planet, and how many variations of each of those, and the personal beliefs of everyone that attends those. I mean, there is no such thing as the right belief, the right understanding, the right theory. But I can build me one that works for me in peace, and it lets me be productive with my life purpose and energy and power. So have fun building your belief, watching it grow. Okay, my thoughts.
I liked what you said about building a framework. I'm choosing a belief that gives you a framework to deal with this world.
Mm-hmm.
And the other day, you had put a picture of a woman's face, bloodied, on your website. And my belief is that it's wrong, it's horrible. And within the framework of this world, it is. Given all the other kind of boundaries or limitations of this world. But then I think of Julian of Norwich, who said, all is well, all will be well, and all manner of things will be well. And it reminds me that there is a bigger framework. There is a larger vision, and that place in us that we were talking about earlier can at least get a feeling for it. And I think that's partly what gives us hope. Yeah, something like that.
Okay. I've been working a lot with this new focus method that I got from Bernadette, and dealing with my low energy and what I've called depression. And this learning to go deeper in the body, to sit with it, is new to me. I've felt things before, but this is, it's kind of doing its own thing to me, pulling me in deeper, but more clearly to feel things. And I just see, above all else, what I see is my subconscious ability to just dislike a feeling and immediately dismiss it, hide it, put it back under the bushel. And so what I've gained in these past few weeks with this focus method is learning to let more things just float there and not even try to solve them at all. Just, okay, there it is. And I don't know what to do with it. Okay, that feels really crappy. I can feel that one in the pit of my stomach. Okay. And then that's back to trusting our awareness, or spirit, if you will, that, Tolle says awareness alone can transform us. Jesus says the Holy Spirit can transform us. So whatever I call it or know it as, if I will let it up in sight and say, maybe I don't like how it affects me, instead of saying it's bad or it should be gone or it's ugly, it's an energy. Just leave it there. Let my awareness, just maybe over the course of the day, a dozen little times it'll pop back into view for a moment. And it's like, it's okay. And that's been the gain I've gotten out of that process, is not any particular revelations, but just getting better at saying, it's okay that's there. It's all right, I'm very tired today. It's okay that. And the one little gain I have experienced is what I have been calling depression, that I've battled all my life in periods. I can see as actually part of the awakening at times, and it gets messed up with the actual physiological state of depression. But as we awaken, we begin to dissolve attachments. It's an automatic part of the process. As I had said, we can still enjoy and even love something as much as ever, but we're not attached to any outcome for it, or in preserving it, holding on to it. Well, that's depressing to the ego. That was my joy. That is my source of joy. What do you mean it doesn't matter now? And I'm beginning to see a lot of what my ego was telling me, oh, you're depressed, was actually a step forward in awareness. Because now I can have just as much fun right here in this group or sitting with the chickens up there as I've ever had doing anything in my life. I don't need all those things, a structured relationship, a home that's worth so much money, an income with, it's like my attachment to those things has just dissolved. And then occasionally the ego remembers I used to get joy out of those things, and now, well, you don't get any of that anymore. And I'm like, no, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not depressing. So what needs to get sorted in us may turn about in the most curious ways that we would never imagine. The same with anger or jealousy or hatred or whatever. Let them there honestly say, it's okay. It's okay this is here. It's okay you're there. She had me kind of imagine each energy as like a little character, or she called it a creature. This creature comes crawling out of the woods, and here it is. What is it? What does it want? What does it need? What's it offering? But I'm seeing for myself, and what I hear as I reread the mystics and such, this deepening process of self-awareness pretty much becomes a feeling thing instead of an intellectual thing, and not an emotional feeling, the deeper feeling where I feel the presence, the love, the peace, joy of God. It becomes a feeling. I can feel that energy in my belly that's a little crunchy. Okay. So there's some love present when I feel with that feeling. I'm already loving it. I don't have to love it. And it's like, it's an amazing growth in the process to me. But whatever's in there, it's okay that it's there. And it actually, at one time, something in us created it to try to protect ourselves. So no, nothing is in us as an enemy. It may be very badly screwed up because of how we were at the time we put it there, or allowed it to come in, but nothing is an enemy if I choose to so perceive. It is not.
I think the last part, as far as the character that was developed because it was protecting you, particularly as a child, as you're learning to navigate. It was always about protecting yourself, and from that standpoint, understanding that leads to compassion
Mm-hmm.
for it. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, okay, we believe that then, and and what are my beliefs like, and then understanding why they developed, and then having those conversations of, does it still hold true, or is it now a false belief?
Mm-hmm.
It served me then, it might not be serving me now, and then how can you honor what's been, respect it, but it's no longer needed, but as we talked about before, like that energy always wants to exist. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't want to die, so it's constantly around, and that's part of the predictability, which is 90% of your day.
Yeah.
So it's just autopilot. But some of the major things that I had to transform, like it was a whole, why am I believing this in this situation or this habit or whatever, and is that really true? And then finding arguments for why it's no longer true.
Yeah.
But then doing the work, because you have to reinforce, because it's still, the other part really thinks that it's true. So it's like a constant back and forth for a while until you experience more reinforcement
Mm-hmm.
of the new belief.
Yeah.
And that changes the predictability percentages, as you do that. And I think that's a big thing, because like that inner critic, like I get angry a lot of times because I'm hearing it,
Mhm.
and like a lot of times if something comes up and I'll be like, I have to just do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the old me trying to protect me from the past, whatever, but it's not true today.
Yeah.
And just take the risk and experience the new experience, and what have you. And the external things that you talked about, the house and the home, and the big aspect today is manifestation. What do you want to manifest in
Yeah.
your life? But I'm learning that those things I want to manifest is because I believe it's going to give me something
Right.
that gives me a feeling.
Right.
So what's behind that feeling?
Yeah.
It's not the thing, it's the feeling that I'm missing.
Cool.
It's that energy that I feel I will gain from this external thing. So what can I do today
Mm-hmm.
without that external thing to
Cool.
try and feel that?
Very good.
And it's kind of like reimagining
Mhm.
the playing field. And like I know, like again, going back to that predictive model, that running the predictability, I have to talk to other people. I have to use whatever resources to say, what are other possibilities that I'm not even
Right.
have ever known or seen, and open my mind to those things. Because if it's just me, myself alone trying
Yeah.
to change something, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
Not when that thing is 90% of my process.
Yeah.
You got to introduce new code,
Mm-hmm.
new
Yeah.
code to the operating system all the time, new inputs, and then run the proof of concept model.
Mm-hmm.
It's like really like that operating system
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah, a couple really good points there. Thank you. I may steal that one of wanting to get that feeling. There was a certain thing you said that I'll muse on. That was very good. Well said. Yeah, and the idea of looking at other external sources, as you're pointing at, it also lets me see my rigid frame. Because if I read, what Fred says and Sally says, and look, I see right away, no, that's not how it is. I can begin to see my framework much more clearly. And even if in the end I don't really agree or feel like it's useful, it brought awareness to me rather than information is what I wanted to point to. And then I can use that awareness. I'll just keep you in sight, my precious little cage. And now we can go to work and remodel it, And again, like I suggested, allow a belief to hang there and just make it better for us, rather than trying to get rid of it, because the biological brain must have a reality model. That's how it makes itself feel safe and how it knows it can survive in this world. It knows where to go to find food, where to take shelter. That's all part of the believer, is in the biology. I think the other part of the believer is entirely different. It's from our spirit that says it is. I know it is, you know? And there are different kinds of beliefs, but we need to have the biological belief as well. Even if it becomes a lot more lightweight and undefined, it's like, yeah, world's friggin' crazy. But every time my awareness has got me through it, so
Yeah.
rather than accepting what is, the basic Buddhist approach, I see mine has shifted to whatever it is, I'll get through it. You know? Anyway, just saying.
Yeah, I'm just noticing. I'm right about that. It's a very different feeling than I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, I'm right on. I spent a lot of time working on that one. Thank you. And I realize now that there's not even any facts that happened over the years, you know, what we call facts. They've changed.
Mm-hmm.
And so things that people thought was scientifically provable, absolutely, and they changed.
Mm-hmm.
And they changed. And I've lived long enough to see that in our time as well as the time that's.
Yeah, in history. Yeah. I had a thought, but it went. Never mind. Yeah. Oh, this feeling of presence, I call it, that I get. It's like awareness that I'm living in this huge field of presence, which is love. It's also very safe feeling when I feel it, because I'm in it. I'm not feeling it in me, I'm in it. And that grows. And again, I find that correlates with a lot of the mystics. And what Sister Braid was just saying about the place of knowing, but it's not knowing in a definitive, factual way. It's knowing as in, I know when we sit in group, the energy comes up of that field and all of us are getting soaked in it. And there's stuff flying between us we don't even have a clue is going on. And it's going out in the world. I can say I know that because every time this feeling comes up, that same sense of knowing that is with it. It's like when you walk out under the sun, it's always warm when I put my hand in the sunlight, you know? It's its nature. And that's more of the realm of true knowing. And yet, there's no definitions in there, but there is a great trust maybe that grows. And as you mentioned, hope. Because from there, it does feel like all things shall be well. That space always has that feeling as we go off the cliff. You know, so, you know, I guess what I'm offering is take time occasionally to muse beyond all the work we or doing to change our cages up a bit and decorate them better, to the place where I'm just okay. I'm okay if that crazy thought's still here even. Yeah, it comes up 100 times a day. Still get pissed every time. Okay. That'll go up the ongoing work. It's okay. Because that brings me back into the freer space of being. And to me, that's where spirit is free to flow through us like a river. And to do whatever it is we're really doing here in this life adventure. And it's not balancing the budget on a spreadsheet. It's we'll probably never comprehend it. There was the guy, the South American guy that said it's our job just to do the work, never to complete it. Don't ever think you'll complete it. Romero? Anyway, once we learn to sit in that space, it all gets a lot lighter, lightweight feeling.
I came across a great analogy for like working through fear and other things. You know, it's like that's the weather. You're the sky.
Yeah.
You know, so clouds are gonna come, rain's gonna come, sun's gonna come.
Yeah.
But you're behind all that.
Well,
You know what I mean? And that just gives me some relief and just understanding that. Just experience what you can,
yeah.
and whatever happens, happens. Like,
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, I write that down. I think that the fact that you're still feeling like, because when we talk about the ego and the character, it's like the real twist is once you work on your spirituality, that becomes an ego energy. Like, oh, I gotta be more spiritual. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not at this level. I'm not at a
Yeah.
guru level. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then people transform into that, and that's just like that's your new character. It's
Yeah.
not even.
It's not.
It's not
spiritual
part
at
of
all.
your. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
part of your awareness factor. You know, that just kind of
Mhm.
travels through here. So that's a cautionary tale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of us go through that phase. And they still, even in part, we can go through things in part of us while the other part of us continues ahead. There may be a little chunk there that's pretty stuck solid that I'm believing that's a good spiritual belief, so I'm succeeding because I have that good belief so strong. Yeah. New character, Osho, you guys should all know him, the teacher. He started out as a real jerk, a spiritual ego of supersize, and built a compound. And for some reason, with his charisma, people started giving him Mercedes as presents. And at one time, he had 100 Mercedes on his compound. And he was using it to get women and money, but yet behind that, there was a real awareness growing. And that's what helped his charisma. And then one day, he got busted by the IRS and he had to flee the country and leave all his goodies behind. And he said when he did, that false ego broke. And after that, he was like almost a completely different person. No longer wanting a big compound, just teaching more kindly, more humorously, from what I've read of him. You know, so everything gets used, but sooner or later, we're gonna see that cage, and can we say, oh, all right, I'll let that dissolve or transform too. So, yeah. And just remember to laugh all the time, with every bit we see. Oh, yeah, and that's in there still. Ugh.
And I find that living in community, if you didn't happen to notice, somebody's gonna show it to you.
Mhm.
So that's really helpful. I had to learn because of that to welcome criticism, even if it doesn't feel constructive at the time. I still welcome it because, without it, where would I be?
Best I can say is, well, sometimes I try to welcome it.
Yeah, I did it as a defense, actually. I couldn't handle it otherwise.
Yeah.
Just from my own nature, it wasn't going to work.
Yeah, it does seem to be a basic rule that holds true that whatever's in me is going to show up externally, and whatever's up to be worked on is going to show up a lot more, and when I did this last round of looking at what I'd been calling depression, I mean, it roared up like a friggin' volcano, and that's normal. It's like, if we can accept that's normal, all right. 5 idiots called me on the phone today. Oh, what am I doing in here? Because every time I had that feeling, that idiot, it's like catching that in me is what you're saying, I believe, Sister Bree. Catching it in me, my reaction to it, and saying, all right, yeah, thanks for showing me it's there. Bastard. I believe we're so more than intertwined. We're so much a part of the divine. And as it flows through us, it is creative. So that projector idea that when a thought comes into not even conscious awareness, but near awareness, it's ready to be worked with or worked on. It gets projected out of us by the divine flowing through us. And it gives us all the samples we need to get a clue where to look in here to ask what needs to be transformed so that shit will quit happening every day, And that's the basic, what do you call it, mind something. Anyway, I think you all know what I mean by that. Some days I have to remind myself that's maybe why all this is going on.
Yeah, I was thinking of that. I was also thinking just direct somebody saying, I don't like when you do that, or,
Mm-hmm.
or you're doing that again,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. Both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's included.
There's the aspect of just because someone said something doesn't mean you gotta take action,
Right.
because that's their
Right.
input, and you also have to question
Yeah.
what's their motive of saying that to you. You know what I mean? So like that's when they say don't take things at face value.
Right.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But there's an opportunity to weigh it, assess it.
Yeah. Is that
Do
true?
I need to do
Yeah.
anything? Yes or no? And that's
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of what people don't like about you is what they don't like about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're all projecting something
Yep.
about us. Like, and I think that's what I read is like it's the subconscious mind has to express itself,
Mm-hmm.
and it expresses by projecting.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean I've said it multiple times, but whatever disturbs me about someone else is something I have to work on
Yes.
myself. It has nothing to do with that other
Mm.
person.
Yep. My reaction to it is
Mhm.
mine.
Mm-hmm.
What I can see it's doing and make a choice of action, of response, is entirely different than my reaction to it, you know? Because my reaction makes me feel like I was punched in the chest or something, or
Mhm.
whatever I experience. Okay, that's me. Now, here's the situation. Let me look again. And like you say, it may be total fluff. It's all their noise. Okay, so they like making that noise. I'm okay now. I just let the noise go by. So, I find it interesting that around the year 1900, there was a big surge in awareness. The Fillmores started Unity, Science of Mind, the Spiritualist Church, Edgar Casey, and there's more I know, but I'm not. Anyway, there was a couple decades there from about 1890 to 1920 when there was this emergence of the New Thought, as it was called collectively. And of course, then that spun into all kinds of crazy or wonderful spiritual ideas. But I think we're beginning to see the actual results in the progressive movement today. I just read progressives in this year's Democratic primary have won 60% of all the races they were involved in. That's a big change. I mean, I get bummed out at this world, and to see, you know, Mondami started it kind of in the spotlight, and then I can never remember his name, the Muslim guy up in Michigan, Abdul or Hab something, was another big winner, because they both are great players. They're out there making videos, doing public stuff, you know, really putting it out there that the people of this country want a better way. And then everyone they've backed has also won their primary for local government. So we have, I think it's 15 now, new progressive federal House or Senate people. And then we've got Mondami and a couple other like mayors and stuff. So it takes time, is my point. The new and actually the progressive movement was first created in 1920s as a labeled definition. So we're just now beginning to see it get through all the muck and come to the surface.
100 years later.
100 years. So we got to be patient with ourselves likewise, is my point. Doesn't mean good work isn't going on, because I've been having to work with something for decades in my mind. Oh, well. up and just share one last personal thought. In this recent undoing, I got to see where I held a belief all my life that we can transcend this human experience and like become just spirit, say. Something in me believed that I was supposed to do that was supposed to happen. And that in turn became the fuel for the depression, because I was always wanting my experience to be something else, and it never was. So that became what my depression built upon. And I'm just beginning to let that mess get unraveled, but it was very interesting to be able to catch a thread of that cage that I'd never consciously realized either side before. So have fun with yours. Thanks for sharing, because it really helps me. So thank you all.
Thank you.